G'day everyone, Mick back again from Boost Health. So if you guys have missed week 1, make sure you go back and do that before we start week 2. So for those of you who have done week 1, we're just going to start to pick it up a little bit more this week. So this week we're going to be focusing on some exercises where last week we were kind of holding. Today we're going to be doing a little bit more movement, just to get a little bit closer to what you're doing in your actual chosen sport, and so that we're actually working and strengthening our muscles through those ranges of motion. So we may as well start with the first day, or day 8. So we're going to start with some body weight squats. Now a lot of people tend to do this one wrong, so just make sure you're watching and keep an eye on it. So we'll start with our feet slightly wider than shoulder width. Now, depending on your hip mobility, some people will be able to have their feet nice and straight. In terms of the squat, having your feet really straight might be a bit hard. I want you to think about sitting down on a chair. So you can have your feet turned out a little bit. We want to make sure that our knees are tracking or in line with our toes. So what I mean by that is I don't want to see our knees really caving in. I want them to stay out, nice and straight, directly over our toes. The other thing that we're going to be looking for is keeping our back relatively straight. Again, depending on the person, some people are going to be more flexible than others. So I'm not a super flexible person, so when I'm doing a squat, as you can see, as I'm coming down, I might have a little bit of a bend in my back. That's okay. We just want to try and make sure we're keeping our back as straight as possible. Because we don't have any weight on our back, it's a little bit more forgiving in terms of the form here. So coming down like so, keeping up nice and straight. You can see my knee and my hip are relatively in line. For those of you who are really flexible, you might be able to come and sit down all the way, but you can see my back's probably rounded there. So starting off nice and simple, some people like to put their arms out, bending, down at the knee, coming up and down like so. You can do this, and do whatever you want, but just squatting. I think I've got you doing around 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. So if you want to make that a little bit harder, you can focus coming down really slow, holding for a second or two, and then coming up, okay? Next exercise is something that we did last week. We're just going to build upon it. So our bridges. So again, getting on the floor. We'll go over this again, but making sure we're not arching our back. So see here, my back, there's a lot of space between it and the floor. I can fit my hand underneath. I don't want to be able to do that. So I tense my abs, push my back into the floor, and then we push up through our glutes. You don't need to come all the way up here, because what we're doing is we're really starting to put stress on the lower back. So again, squeeze our abs down, pushing into the ground, coming up and down like so. So I think I've got you doing, again, around 3 sets of 8 to 12. Now, next exercise is some calf raises. So super important exercise if you're doing a lot of running. So we're going to have our hands on the wall or on something that you can hold on to. Feet slightly, or are shoulder width, I should say. We want our feet to be nice and straight for this one. We want to make sure we're pushing through our big toe, like I said the other day. We're going to come up, hold for 2 or 3 seconds, then come back down nice and slowly. So again, we don't want to be coming up out to the sides or anything like that. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, hold, and then down like so. Okay? Nice and easy, nice and simple. So Now we're going to get onto our plyometric exercise. So that's our jumping exercise. We're going to be doing some jump squats again. So again, just making sure we're absorbing the impact really well. So again, we don't want to see our knees caving in because that's going to give you or cause a lot of issues. So again, coming down. You don't need to come all the way down for a jump squat. I just want you to squat down a little bit, jump, and then get down lower on that return. So it'll look something like this. You can see with my arms, as I jump, they swing, and that just helps get us a little bit more lift. Last but not least, our most favourite or hated, depending on who you are, is our wall sits. So again, having our back up against the wall, pressing our lower back in, walking it out so that we can actually sit down properly. If our feet are too close, you're not going to be able to sit down properly. So walk it out, feet wider than shoulder width, coming down, pressing our back into the wall, knees in line with hips, and just sitting here and holding for as long as you can, 3 times, okay? So there you have it. That's week 2, first day, or day A, day 1. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. No question is a stupid question. And I'll see you on day 2, all right?